Problem is to write a Python program to parse a string to a float or an integer. Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to WsCube Tech. My name is Ayushi Jain. In this video, we will learn how to write a program that will allow us to parse a string into an integer or a float number. So in Python, this could be done by several methods. We will be looking at all of them one by one. First of all, we will be parsing a string into an integer. Let's have a look on how it can be done. So first of all, talking about a string is something which encloses anything, let it be numbers, letters, symbols, or combination of all of them. So here I want to convert a string into an integer. That means I need to take a string in which we only have numbers. So I'll be taking a string that has numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What I need to do right now, it is a string. Let's print its type and check it as well. That print type of A. And let's run and see what output we will get here. So as soon as I run it, I'll get the output that it belongs to classes of string. Okay, what do I need to do now? I need to convert it into an integer. And if I print it as well, suppose if I'll print A, it will look like an integer only. That there won't be any double quotations or anything as well. But if you check its type, it would say it is a string. Now, how to convert it into an integer? To convert it into an integer, we have a very simple method that we write A is equals to int A. That means we are converting A into an integer. Now, as soon as I print A and run it, let's see what output we get. There is no change in the output, but what if I check its type? So if I write print type of A, let's run and see what output we'll get now. Now you can clearly see that we are getting an output as integer. That means now after we have applied this operation, it has been converted into an integer. So I'll be writing over here inside the comments that conversion of string to int. Okay. To convert it, all we need to do is write the name of the string is equals to int A. Then that means inside the integer, we will be passing the A string as well to convert it into a string. That means inside A, we will be writing int A. Int over here is telling that this A will be converted into an integer. Let's have a look on second method where we will be converting this string into a float. Now again for our second method, we need to take a string, but this time I'll be taking it in the decimal number. So I can take 123.45. Okay, so 0.45 is telling me that it is a decimal number. If you want, you can take an integer as well. That will also get converted into float by getting the decimals in the end. It would like 12345.0. But if you want, you can take a decimal number already over here. Okay, let's check its type over here. So I'll be writing print type of A. So it will give me the data type of A, and its data type over here would be a string. Okay, and if you print it, so if I print A and run it, I would get 123.45. That means 123.45. Now what do I need to do? I need to convert it into a float. To convert it into a float, again I'll write A, that is our string. A is equals to float, and inside this, what do we want to convert into float? We want to convert this string A into a float, so we'll be passing float A. Now let's print A and see what output we'll get. If we are running it, we are getting the same output, but what if I check its type? So if I write print type of A and run it, I'll get the output that now it has been converted into a float. That means previously it was string. Once we have applied this operation, once we have converted A into a float, it has now become a float. So here I'll be adding inside the comments that conversion of string into a float. Okay. So even if there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 instead of 123.45, let's see what output we would have got. In that case, we would have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as the output for string, and as soon as we have converted it into a float, we will get 12345.0. That means it is indicating us that it has now been converted into a float. Now let's have a look on our solution number 3, where we will be parsing a string which has a numeral in a format of a float, and then we'll be converting it into an integer. That means over here, instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we would be having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and instead of converting it into a float, we will be converting it into an integer. So let's have a look on how it can be done. So our solution number 3 says parse string float numeral into an integer. Now what is string float numeral? That means I will again take a string A is equals to, but inside this I'll pass a value of float, and then it needs to be converted into an integer. So I'll be writing 123.45, and if I write a is equals to, first of all, let's print its type. So print type of a, it would give a string, as we can see over here. Now what do we need to do? We need to convert it into an integer. Now how to convert it into an integer? If I'll write directly that a is equals to int a and print type of a, then it would generate an error over here because it is a float number. It cannot directly, because this is a float, right? This is a decimal number. It cannot be directly converted into an integer. So how to avoid that to happen? So what we can do over here is, instead of writing a is equals to int a, first of all, we will convert it into a float a. That means it will first become a float. So I'll be writing float a, and as soon as I run it, it will tell me that now it has been converted into a float. Now we will be converting this float into an integer. To convert this float into an integer, we'll be putting a brackets, a set of parentheses over here, and in front of it, we'll be writing int. Now let's run and see what output we'll get. So now you can clearly see that it was previously a string. Now it has been converted into an integer. So steps over here is that if there is a float number inside a string, we need to first convert it into a float, and then we have to convert it into an integer. So I hope guys that all the three methods are clear to you. In the first method, we have converted a string into an integer. In our second method, we have converted our string into a float, and in our third method, we have converted our string float numeral into an integer. Thanks for watching the video, and for more such interesting programs, stay connected guys. Thank you.